about the big stock or the big story for today. Yatra Online shares they're declining in trade after CEO Dhruv Shringi has resigned as the CEO, while Siddhartha Gupta is appointed as the new CEO. Let's get in Dhruv Shringi joining us now to take a few questions to understand what really happened here. Dhruv, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. Well, you indicate that there are personal reasons for your resignation. We do get that, yes, personal reasons. But it is a very rushed resignation, and there is an immediate appointment as well. Could it have not been planned better? Because investors are quite taken aback. The stock is lower in trade.
I think there is maybe a bit of an adverse reaction to the stock than what we anticipated, but this is a fairly planned move. So I think the messaging saying that, I have resigned in a way is also misleading. Well, technically that is correct, but I'm also moving on to being the executive chairman of the company. The reason we made this move, and it's a very well thought through move, is because as a company, we are at our best in our history, right? From a profitability point of view, from a scale size point of view, the company is doing really well. The core business is performing very well. It's almost in an autopilot. So we thought it was the right time for us to get someone in who could take on running the day-to-day
Dhruv, we get that point, and in fact, Q2 was quite strong, and you had actually upgraded the guidance. What has taken the street by surprise is that most of the changes that you're talking about have happened with immediate effect. Generally, in a process like this, it's telegraphed well in advance. The analyst community is aware, in a conference call, or generally, the analysts are made aware. So, what prompted this sudden overnight decision to step away from the CEO role?
No, this is not an overnight decision. As you can imagine, someone of Siddharth's caliber who's coming into the company, this would be a well-planned, well-thought-through kind of discussion which would have happened over a period of time in shortlisting the candidate, having multiple rounds of discussions with him before we brought him on board. So this is a well-thought-through decision. And out here, the way we look at this is about putting in place the steps that we need to for the next phase of growth for the company. So while he's looking at one aspect of it, it'll free up a little bit of my bandwidth to start looking at other aspects of the company, from, let's say, inorganic growth opportunities to international expansion. We want to really see how do we double the company in size and scale over the course of the next 3 years. So keeping that in mind, this is more of a step to strengthen the management team as opposed to looking at this as a substitution.
So, Dhruv, what has happened here is that the reaction that you're talking about is because of the fact that this transition happened immediately. There was no lead period for transition from you to Siddhartha to take over as the CEO of the company. Yes, you're going to be the chairman, but CEO position is very important for any shareholder as well. And also the fact that it was not announced in the conference call that happened like as recent as 2 weeks back. And I think that's the reason why we are seeing that reaction as well. You did indicate that there will be certain roles that you will take up as the chairman of the board of directors as well. If you can talk more about it, and what skill does Siddhartha bring to the table? The investors would definitely like to know about that as well.
Sure. So he firstly, has over 25 years of experience on the B2B side of things. As you would have seen, our business over the last 2 years has pivoted more and more towards the B2B part of our business. He comes with experience in companies like SAP, companies in metal, where he's led large teams on the B2B front. And I think he will do really well in terms of scaling up our B2B business and providing some oversight and guidance to the B2C part of the business as well. In terms of my own role, right, I look at this, from a more strategic perspective. There are multiple other avenues of growth that we need to look at in addition to the core part of the business, be it looking at, international expansion, be it looking at M&A opportunities, be it looking at how we work more closely with the government on the tourism side of things, right? Tourism is one of the key initiatives that the government is working on. And there are multiple opportunities being created within that for us to expand. So I think there are a number of areas where we will collaborate and work together on to be able to multiply the organization's growth potential.
So, Dhruv, in that case, the question still remains. You want to take up other roles. Why not give some breathing time for that transition to come by? Why make it so sudden?
I'm very much in the company. It's not that, I'm moving out of the company tomorrow morning. So there is a sudden transition. I'm very much around to make sure that from a transition point of view, all of this happens seamlessly. So that's the part that I'm maybe a bit, surprised by the reaction. Had it been a case that I was moving out and suddenly someone new was coming in, I would have understood the reaction. But given the fact that I'm as an executive chair, it's not even that I'm a non-executive chair, I'm an executive chair in the company. It's only supplementing the strength of the management team.
Right. Dhruv, we get that point, and the clarification that you're giving now, and the assurances that you're giving now is something that the street is clearly taking a note of. Dhruv, you mentioned a couple of points. Number one, you said that you will be looking at policy and you will be, number one, talking to the government about how to improve the tourism part. We get that point. The second point is, and you mentioned that a couple of times, you said that you are looking to expand both international operations as well as looking at prospective M&A opportunities. Do you have any acquisition targets on the horizon? What will be the likely size and what vertical will you be looking at?
So, if you look at our track record, right, once every few years, we have done an M&A on the enterprise side, on the corporate travel side only. Our focus remains squarely on that part of the business. The last one we had done was in September of 2024, and that acquisition is now fully integrated. So we will continue to evaluate opportunities on the same lines. There is no specified target as of this point of time, but it's more about creating the bandwidth to be able to look at those more closely. The other aspect which is there is looking at international expansion. What we've seen, at least in the Asian region, as we are targeting some of the larger customers, they have a footprint beyond India as well. So our steps, our thought process over there is to look at how do we put our own foothold into these other neighboring markets, be it markets like the Middle East, markets like Southeast Asia, where there is good growth potential and synergy between our existing business, existing customers, and their growth in the region.
Okay. So, Dhruv, you say you're surprised by the reaction. The fact is, even the investors are surprised by this quick transition, right? And that's why you're seeing that that fall. The stock is recovering right now, but have you had a word with the institutions that own your stock? What have their reaction been to this? Or were they surprised too as well by this shift that is happening in the CEO's position? And secondly, what is your stake, personal stake in the company? What happens to that? Does it stay? Do you buy more? If you can give those specific numbers as well.
Sure. So firstly, from a reaction point of view, I think the larger institutions have obviously understood, and we've spent some time explaining to them the rationale as well. And that's part of the reason why you're beginning to see some recovery happening. So it's not a sellout which is happening. I am also expecting that through mediums like yours, as we get the word out there and this clarification filters in, we will see improvement continue to happen in the stock. Because at the end of the day, the underlying business is performing well. This is a move which will only add more synergy, add more growth opportunities to the business. So I see this as a net positive. We are not looking at selling any stock. So from a personal standpoint, there is no sale, transition, anything of that nature being thought through even remotely.
And what is your stake in the company in personal capacity?
Sorry?
What is your stake in the company in personal capacity? You'll continue to hold that?
Yeah, so I will continue to hold my entire stake. My stake comes in through the overseas holding entity, and that will continue to remain as is. There won't be any change of that.
Dhruv, and a quick guidance check. You raised the guidance to 22 to 23% on the top line, and you raised margin guidance as well. All of that on track?
So there's nothing that's transpired in the last, let's say, 2-3 weeks, which would make me think differently.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Dhruv, for joining us. And there's been a very sharp recovery in the stock price, as you've gone ahead and given an assurance to the investors that you will continue to remain a part of the company and steer it forward. Well, we'll now slip into a short break. We'll get you more on the markets and stock-specific action on the other side. Stay tuned.